I've got one race and one race only in Low Fuel Motorsport this week, so I have to make this second row start count. I'm back in Assetto Corsa Competizione for the Coach Dave GT3 Sprint on ACC's newest track, the Red Bull Ring. Now, it's very rare I qualify this well. I'll be starting from P4, and my time of 1:29.1 is just 2/10 off Uwe Ponton in pole position. Make no mistake about it, this is my best ever chance to get my first win on LFM. Will I rise to the occasion, or will I throw it all away in catastrophic fashion? Well, what do you think? So we're just waiting for the lights to go green, and they have gone green. We're underway at the Red Bull Ring. Now I'm hoping that a gap opens up to my left so that I can move over and slot into the racing line. I didn't fancy taking turn one tight. There is a killer curb on the inside. We've managed to get on the racing line. We've managed to get through turn one and hold our fourth position. So that's the first hurdle cleared, and it's as you were out on track. Uwe Ponton leading the way from pole position. Then is Daniel Bedorek in second and Vladislav Silantiev in third. Just having a little peek up the inside of Silantiev there into turn three. I wasn't really serious about following it through, but I thought I'd have a sniff. Oh, and a bit of a mess in the rearview mirror too. It looked like several cars involved as we came up over the brow of the hill there. We'll have to go back and check out a replay of that shortly, but for now I'm looking good. I'm holding on to my starting position of fourth. However, there is a rather menacing looking red Ferrari breathing down my neck. Now that's Kasper Jakowski racing with the number one plate, and his qualifying time was only 1/10 slower than mine. So one thing's for sure, it is going to be incredibly close here. It's such a short lap, and on top of that, we've got the top 10 separated by just 0.8 of a second. But having said that, I have got a bit of daylight both in front and behind me now, so let's take the opportunity to go back and see exactly what happened at T3. Now we're looking out for the red Ferrari of David Almanara in the centre of the screen. He's going to get a bit unsettled after some contact with Mane Mack there, but as he goes out wide, there's a Mercedes out even wider rejoining from the left. That's good to rule out. The pair of them collide. In fact, Almanara gets sandwiched between Rolt and Mack and crashes out. Thankfully though, I was well clear of the entire incident, all the way up in fourth position, which is where I still am as we rejoin the live action at the start of lap 2. Now the leading trio continuing to make a break for it here, but I will close right in at T3. Speaking of closing in, so does Jakowski behind. Yeah, that front three now more than 1 second clear. Daniel Bedorek has taken over the lead of this race, but it looks like Uwe Ponton is going to try and fight back into this right-hander. Ponton up the inside, Bedorek leaves him space. They're side by side exiting the corner with Vladislav Silantiev waiting to pounce right on their tail. And with Ponton having the inside line for the previous corner, he's now stuck on the outside line, which means a gap might open up for Silantiev to dive through. Now there may be an opportunity for me as well. I tuck it up the inside, I'm alongside Ponton, and I've got past up into third position. Oh, things are really starting to heat up here at the Red Bull Ring on lap 2. I find myself right in the middle of the fight for the lead of this race. Meanwhile, behind it looks like Kasper Jakowski and Roman Kopacek have both got past Uwe Ponton. So poor Ponton, he has dropped from first to sixth on this second lap. And as we exit the final turn, Daniel Bedorek leads the way. Vladislav Silantiev in second, and me just 0.4 of a second behind in third. And this now really is a golden opportunity for a podium, but I brake too late. I thought I was going to plough into Silantiev, and now I'm out of control. I don't want to come back on track. Oh, that was a big hit. It was inevitable. I had my foot stamped on the brake pedal to try and avoid rolling back onto the racing line, but unfortunately I've taken other drivers with me there. This is an absolute disaster, rejoining down in 21st position. Oh, I can hardly bear to watch it again, but before we do, let's at least see something positive. On the previous lap, I managed to move up into third position. Now, Uwe Ponton is hung out really wide there. Vladislav Silantiev makes a move up the inside. That opens up a gap for me to follow, but then it all went so disastrously wrong at turn 1 at the start of lap 3. I used my hot lap braking point when I should have anticipated the two cars in front of me braking a little bit earlier. It was a big mistake, and I took a proper whack there. On board with Michael Smuda, he had no chance whatsoever of avoiding me, and there's another car facing backwards there, so I think I've taken two drivers out there. One final look from the chopper cam, and as soon as I swerved, I felt the rear start to step out. There was no way of saving it. I just tried my best to stop running back onto the track, but unfortunately it was Roman Kopacek who I tagged as well, so that's two apologies I've got to send after this race. We're not even at 1/3 race distance yet. But back to the live action, we're just starting lap 4. I think it's safe to say my hopes of a first ever LFM race win are over for today, but we've still got 19 minutes of racing to go. Let's try and salvage something at least. Maybe, just maybe, I can get myself back into the top 15. Oh, and it's a car park at T3. 2 cars facing in the wrong direction. That was Tazzy John in the Ferrari and Gunther Raut in the Mercedes. So that's given us 2 places back at least. Let's check out the replay of that incident. And keep your eye on the black Mercedes at the back of shot. That's Gunther Raut trying to move up the inside. He gets unsettled by that raised curb and goes straight into Tazzy John. I take to the runoff area to get around them both, and that puts me up into P19. And now I'm right on the tail of Banny Mac. Now, Matt qualified in P12 and his lap time was half a second slower than mine, so I know I've got the pace, but will I find the space? It certainly doesn't look like I'm going to on the approach to the final 2 turns, because Mac is going ultra defensive and closing off that inside line. It does force him to go a little bit wider on exit. He's out onto the runoff area there, but I'm just not close enough to capitalise. So for now, I'll have to stay behind the Ferrari, but I want to apply as much pressure as I can. We're going to jump forward to the start of the next lap. And once again, I've got the run on Mac, but I've just not quite got the pace to get alongside and tuck it up the inside into turn 3. Mac slams the door shut, so for now, he's holding on to 18th position. Right, let's jump forward again to the end of lap 5. I'm still applying as much pressure as I possibly can. Mac taking a really wide entry into the penultimate turn. Yeah, at the moment, I'm just struggling to find an opening here, but I'm going to switch the TV cam on. We're watching Hendrik Lemmerman in 9th position. He is going to get it all wrong going into T1. Another victim of that raised curve on the inside, and Lemmerman is going to call it a day. So that's 1 retirement. That will promote me up into P18 as I come through the first corner and clip that very same curb. Thankfully, the BMW is able to cope with it just a little bit better than the McLaren did. Right, on to the halfway point of lap 7 now. I've managed to claw my way back onto the rear spoiler of Max Ferrari. And not only that, the pair of us have closed in on the 2 drivers in front. Domingo Navarro in 15th, and Rainer Ramsteiner in 16th. So I said we may be able to salvage a top 15 from this one with 15 minutes of the race still to go. I'm feeling optimistic here. But having a bit of extra pace is one thing. I need the extra aggression now to force away past Mac and then challenge Ramsteiner and Navarro too. Now this is the section of the track that I'm so much quicker than Mac, but every time he goes defensive, he's not letting me find a way through here, so I'm going to switch to the outside again. This time I'm going to try and roll it around the outside and apply pressure that way. Will it work? No, it almost ends in disaster because the rear started to slide out there. But I'm doing everything I possibly can to try and engineer a way through, but at the moment Mac is holding firm. He is not surrendering this 17th position without a fight. Right, start of lap 8 then. We're at the halfway distance now. Can I find a way past Mac? Well, he's a bit hot into T1 and he's made a mistake out onto the runoff area, but he might actually profit from it because he gets a faster exit. So let's jump forward to later in the lap. I've clawed that gap back in again. I'm right on his tail, approaching the part of the circuit where I know I'm quicker, but Mac was actually smoother through there that time, so I'm not quite close enough to challenge. Now I know he's favouring these wide entries, so that does leave a tantalising gap up the inside. If I was a little bit closer, I might have been able to dive into it. I'm not quite close enough, so I have to back out, but we're putting him under pressure. Now you can see him starting to make mistakes. He was out wide again, exiting the final corner. Now can I mount a challenge up the inside and sling it past him into T1? No, again, I'm not quite close enough, so I back out, but once again, he is out wide onto the runoff area and we'll get a much faster exit. So Matt gains a few extra tenths. Once again, I'm going to have to claw that gap back in. Meanwhile, we've got company behind now too. Roman Kopacek has closed right in. And in front, Mac is applying pressure on Ramsteiner now. Ramsteiner defending into turn 3. That leaves a gap up the inside. Now can I challenge Mac? We're side by side coming out over the hill, but I've just not got the drive. Mac holds on to 17th position, but we're right back on his tail now. I may even have a bit of a run on him, and I know he favours the wider entry here, so there's going to be a big gap on the inside. I'm going to go for it. Oh, but Mac closes the door as he goes for the apex. There's contact, and I think I might have dispatched Mac into the gravel there. I can't, in good conscience, carry on going. I'm going to have to wait for Mac to rejoin. Where is he? Well, there he is. He's just coming past now. And I can't rejoin safely until Gunther Raut gets past, so I'm back down to 22nd position. Another big mistake. And yeah, I'm feeling quite embarrassed to even show this replay again. I thought it was worth a move up the inside, but the pass was never really on. I wasn't far enough alongside Mac, and I ended up taking him out. Here's the view looking back from Ramsteiner's Porsche, and you can see that there's a big gap there, but I'm just not far enough alongside. I only get a nose up there, and that's not enough. So it ended up being yet another really poor judgment call from me in this race. All on me this one, and I absolutely had to wait for Mac. There's no way my conscience would have let me carry on racing here. It's ruined my race and it's ruined Mac's race, and dear me, the list of people I've got to apologise to after this race is growing by the lap. Right, back to the live action on lap 10. I've already gained one position thanks to a retirement for Laszlo Moranian, and I'm going to pick up another one into this right-hander. Look into the gravel. Roman Kopacek has come to grief again, so now I'm back up into P20. But yeah, Kopacek just getting a little bit too close to Rainer Ramsteiner through the corner. He just tags the rear of the Porsche there, and they both spin out. Ramsteiner's able to rejoin, but I'm right on his tail now. And with 8 minutes of the race remaining, there's still a chance that I could get back up into P18. Both Günther Raut and Ramsteiner are less than 1 second in front. Now, given the chaos that I've already caused in this race, the last thing I want to do is hit anyone else. So if I am going to make the pass, I am going to have to do it flawlessly. Ramsteiner sideways out of the final turn, so we do get one position back. Right, let's jump forward to lap 13. Next in my sights is the Mercedes of Günther Raut. Still 5 minutes left on the clock, so we're going to get at least 2 or 3 more laps here. Plenty of time to mount a challenge. Raut a little bit wide out of the final turn. I've got the better run. Can I pull alongside and challenge up the inside into T1? Oh, actually, it looks like Raut thinks better of it. He lifts and gives me the position. Maybe he's seen me clattering through the rest of the grid and thought it was best for his chances of survival. Okay, let's move forward to the end of this 14th lap. Mac is the driver in front of me now, but he's more than 3 seconds clear, and with just 3 minutes left on the clock, I very much doubt I'm going to be able to close him in yet another time, unless he makes a mistake, which he has done through T1. That was Mac on the inside, facing the wrong way, and he's yet another victim of that killer curb on the inside. And I know all too well from my time driving that Ferrari 296, it does not like raised curbs. So a bonus position at the end there. That promotes me up into P17. Now I'm 10 seconds behind David Almenara in 16th, but more than 5 seconds clear of Günther Raut behind. And that made for a pretty lonely final couple of laps. Well, what can I say? We all have bad races, right? And that was one of the bad ones. I thought I was going to be challenging for at least a podium, if not the race win. And instead, I find myself down in P17 with the fastest lap in the race that's more than 1 second slower than what I was managing in qualifying. So a complete disaster all round. And yeah, unfortunately I only had time for one Low Fuel Motorsport race this week. And you know me, I love to bring you a great race, but I also won't shy away if I have a nightmare. And that's exactly what I had today. Now, I've had a pretty crummy week all in all, with work, life and other things away from sim racing. And I think I just went into this race with a bit too much built up aggression, a bit too much angst, and it showed in my driving. I just wasn't at it today, and I'm not proud at all of some of the mistakes I made. But let's end the video on a slightly more positive note. While I've got you, I want to quickly mention the CR Sim Racing team on Low Fuel Motorsport. If you race in LFM, either in Assetto Corsa Competizione or Assetto Corsa, and you fancy representing a team, please do feel free to join. It's open to anyone. It's called CR Sim Racing. Just search for it on the Low Fuel Motorsport website, and the password to join is Chris Rogers, all lowercase. I'll post the details in the description below as well, but honestly, any and all abilities are welcome. I mean, I'm the leader of the team, and you saw how I drove out on track today, so please do feel free to join and say hello. And as always, thanks for listening. Let's put this torrid week at the Red Bull Ring behind us, and hopefully we'll have a better run next time out. Thanks ever so much for watching. Cheers.